Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again for Maha's Picks Part 3. So in this video we're going to talk about Spikenard essential oil. And I chose this oil for the month of January because for different reasons. First, it's related to the planet Saturn and the sign of Capricorn. And I talked about Saturn ruling Capricorn as well being the ruler of Aquarius in traditional astrology. And I also talked about Saturn being a first chakra planet. Spikenard is a root chakra for chakra oil, and the part of the plant which it's taken from is the root part of the plant. It's related to the earth element, and so is Saturn and the sign of Capricorn. The symbol for Capricorn is the mountain goat. That's its signature animal. And the mountain goat is persistent and resilient, and it climbs to the peaks of the mountains. Spikenard is actually cultivated in the high mountains of the Himalayas and Nepal in India. It's sometimes referred to as mountain nard. It's very grounding, it's very earthy, and highly relaxing. All of those properties help with Capricorns because Capricorns tend to be highly ambitious, really hardworking. But in general, this oil is great for people who tend to be tense and anxious. Spikenard is related to the valerian family. So it has similar sedative and very calming properties as valerian root. It doesn't have as pungent of a scent though. It's not as overpowering as patchouli either. It's one of my favorite earth oils, in fact, and I use it when if I'm using it in aromatherapy healing, for people who are not really attracted to patchouli. So it's a really good option if you are not attracted to that scent of patchouli, because Spikenard actually has a very gentle, musky scent. It is very earthy, but it can be used in small amounts as a base oil, which won't overpower other scents. It was considered a sacred oil in the ancient times. It's actually mentioned in the Bible, and I find this interesting because it kind of links to the month of January also. It is mentioned in the Bible when Mary Magdalene anoints Jesus' feet on the night of the Last Supper. And it's actually quoted to be a highly costly oil that she used. According to the ancient Christians from the East, the birth of Jesus was on January the 6th. So I'm not Christian, and I don't know too much about the Christianity facts, although I found this really interesting because I thought that it tied into that theme of January. So let's go ahead and talk about the properties, the healing properties of Spikenard, and talk about the actual herb a little bit. So this is what Spikenard actually looks like. And if you can see it, it has these fibers that kind of fall apart from each other. It's referred to as locks of hair because it actually looks like a lock of hair. Reminds me of my own hair. So I'm going to read you just something interesting from Roy Genders from his book, Perfumes Through the Ages. Okay, so he goes, Jatamansi, Jatamansi, Jatamansi is a Hindu word signifying a lock of hair. For the most fragrant part of the plant is that portion of the stem just above the root, which is covered with fibers. These hair-like filaments are formed so closely together that they have the appearance of a lock of hair. Interesting. So it is Spikenard essential oil comes from the area just above the root. That's where, as he said in the quotes, it is the most fragrant part of the plant. I have these dried parts of Spikenard because I make tea with it. Oh my gosh, it smells wonderful. It smells so good. I make tea with this just going to tell you this as a side note, in combination with a herb, well, flower, petals, of a flower called Echium. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Echium. And actually I get this and the spikenard from the Persian shops because Persian people make a tea, an infusion of these two plants for period menstrual pain, period pain and cramps. It really alleviates menstrual cramps, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, because so does the essential oil. So this oil, as I mentioned, is very healing, both mentally and to ease tension of the mind, and emotionally to heal emotional blockages that may be hidden inside, might be hard to access. It's highly relaxing, it is an antidepressant, and it has a warming quality for the mind and for the body. It's antispasmodic, it balances the female hormones, so because of its antispasmodic qualities, it makes it very helpful for period cramps. It's really great for skin problems, more skin problems that are harder to treat, like allergies, for example, and is highly effective for mature skin. So just as a side note, anytime you see an essential oil that is good for balancing hormones, it's also really great for mature skin. It has something to do, although I'm not 100% sure, but I think it has something to do with the fact that it balances hormones and it has that ability to balance the female hormones. Because as we age, we have hormonal changes in our bodies. So this is really great for that. In India and in Iran, the oil of spikenard was used as a perfume and for the hair. It still is used as a perfume, in fact, in Iran. I'm pretty sure it's also the same with India. So the way I use spikenard for my hair is I use it in two ways. One, I blend the oil in olive oil, so the essential oil of it in olive oil, or I just take some actual dried spikenard and I just make an infusion I infuse it in olive oil and I let it sit for 2 weeks, the dried part, and then I use it for my hair just before shampooing the hair. It's a really great conditioner. The longer you put it in your hair, the better. It's used as a base oil also with rose otto in perfumes. Even though this may sound strange because it's kind of counterintuitive, they have such different aromas, but in minute amounts, it can be used to give the beautiful rose just a touch of depth, just a touch of the earthy quality. And recently I've been using it with a red champa. Red champa is red magnolia from India, and I'm going to talk about red champa in another video, but the combination of these two is amazing for meditation. It's just so beyond words. I also love blending it with lavender, with sweet marjoram, and Roman chamomile, especially because these three are highly relaxing and, again, really great for menstrual cramps. Or sometimes what I do, and I do this in the summertime when my room is extremely hot and dry, I place a little dish filled with water by my bed with just a few drops of spikenard essential oil. And what happens is throughout the day, the oil starts to evaporate from the heat of my room and it gets dispersed into the air, and it just gives out the most subtle and the most stunning scent. So beautiful and so intriguing because every time I walk by I just feel like I just get a whiff of it and I just feel so relaxed. Okay, you guys, that was just a little bit about spikenard and my oil for the month of January. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to the next videos with you. Bye!